Hey, Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
Doing good. Well, tell us who you are and what you do.
I am Jennifer Spire. I am partner and CEO of Preston Spire, a full service creative agency that's independent in Minneapolis.
And tell us how old your agency is.
75 years.
All right, everyone that's listening, she did say 75 years, not 7.5 years,
Yeah.
75 years.
Yeah. 1950 is when we started.
So you are officially, I wish I had like this sound, like going wah, wah, wah. Like you are officially the oldest agency we've ever interviewed.
Yeah. We are the oldest agency, independent agency in Minneapolis. Call McVoy is a little bit older than us.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So tell us how the agency founded, what they did. Was this like the typical Mad Men smoking cigarettes, treating people?
I think so. It was a design shop first, and then it moved quickly into more of trying to do advertising and full service. Full service back then was a lot different than full service now. And it just continued to stay as an ad agency, very traditional for a while. But I'm proud of being around for very long because it's really hard to continue to evolve. And I think there's a lot to be said for an agency that can evolve and be strong and stable and grow.
And be relevant.
Having that tenure and having that history.
Like it's just bad to say, like, I even hate for you to say have the tenure. I mean, it's 75 years, right? Like you're 25 years away from being a century old.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. There's some people are, oh, did you found the agency? Well, I would be,
do you slap them?
I'd be 100 years old. I think I did pretty good for 100 years old.
Yeah.
So no, I'm the fourth CEO.
Tell us about, how did you start with this agency? How did you become the CEO?
Yeah. I came from big agencies. A couple of them are, publicly owned and withholding companies. But I started my career in an independent agency. And it was the best thing. If I can give any advice for people coming out of college and getting into the business, starting with a small independent agency is amazing because you get to experience everything. I did everything from answering the phones and being the production assistant on shoots, from starting the media department, being in account management, doing PR. It was everything. And so then I became so well-rounded working at a small agency where there's no lines or boxes that are holding you back. And then went to big agencies from there.
What was it like working for the big agency? You know, when I graduated college, I went to work for Arthur Anderson on their programming side, on the consulting side. And it was just not a fit for me. I never worked for an agency in my life. So when I created the agency by accident, it was like it was probably a blessing too. I didn't take all the crap that you probably get at some of the bigger ones, but what was that like?
Wonderful experience. I have to say you learn so much from it, what to do, what not to do.
Oh, I bet more on the not to do.
Yeah, correct. One of the agencies, we'll call McVoy, and they're doing so well. And that experience, 7 years, was incredibly worthwhile. And then I moved over to Olson. And when I first started at Olson, I don't know if you're familiar with them, they ended up being purchased by ICF. And they became about 965 people. Yeah. But when I started, there were about 150. And it was an amazing place because it was very entrepreneurial. There was not the infrastructure like there is at a lot of agencies. And so you had to chart your own path. And for people who loved that, they succeeded. I loved that. But then the ones that needed somebody to tell them what to do every step of the way, they didn't, and they left. But then when it was purchased, it became a lot more corporate, and you were making decisions that were best for maybe shareholders and not for the clients and people. And so when I came over I got the job offer after almost a year of communications and interviews and so forth. Going to a small agency for my last stint was incredibly important to me. And I wanted to make sure that everybody could chart their own path and we're making the right decisions for clients and the rest of the team. And that's exactly our culture here at
That's
Preston.
awesome. I want to talk about, there's a lot of people listening. I just did a speech not too long ago about what I went through in order to sell the first agency and really kind of transforming from an owner to a CEO. And there was a big difference. And there's a lot of people listening here. Maybe they don't want to exit, right? Like we were, and I do want to ask, what's the goal of this agency going forward? I'm like, please don't ever sell. Like hit 100, hit 200.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, you want to set up the agency so you can sell it as an option, but you don't have to. And your role from an owner to a CEO changes. But I'm interesting, since you came in straight as a CEO, what is your role on a daily and weekly basis?
Yeah. Being a smaller agency, I'm probably a little bit more into the weeds than I should be. And I think you have a podcast that talks about that and to rise people up. But I am very much involved. I manage operations, everything from finance and HR, staffing, training, all of that. But also I'm involved with the clients. I'm not in the weeds with the clients, but all important meetings, I have relationships with the top for every single client. So that I think that's really important. When they know that leadership is supporting them and their business, I think that's probably the most important job.
Yeah. And the other thing too is knowing that you don't have to do it if you probably didn't want to, right? Like I remember when we landed LegalZoom and, I was probably 30 at the time. So I still probably knew jack shit, but they were like, oh, wow, the CEO is in this meeting. And I'm like, really? Like me? Little old me?
I know that's good.
So it was, but I didn't have to be in that meeting. Like my team had it under control and could do the strategy and really everything. And it just adds that extra layer, especially if you lose someone on the team. You're like, all right, well, Jennifer's got me.
Yeah, definitely. And we're really picky on who we hire. And we have amazing talent. We were in a pitch presentation on Friday. And I think people commented afterwards when I was introducing the team that would be assigned to their business, how proud I came across, because I am proud of every single person in our agency, and they are incredibly talented and they're really good humans. The egos are at the door. We do not allow for that. We want people to really care about one another and care about the work. And whether they're like very young or they've been in the business forever, they equally care about the work and the client's success and the agency's success. And that's really, really important. And that's what we have questions that we ask candidates to make sure we're getting the right people.
I'm curious, what's the longest an employee's been with the agency? How many years?
Well, the longest ever is 37 years.
Holy cow.
We just this summer celebrated one individual. He's a senior production artist, illustrator, editor, jack of all trades. He's amazing. He just celebrated this summer 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen much.
Yeah. And last year we had a party for 3 people celebrating 25 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
My Stacy, our director of happiness, has been with us over 10 years now. I mean, we've only been doing it 11 years. So, I'm super proud of that. But 30 years, 25 years, that's incredible. I think she would probably, if she had 30 years, I think she would have killed me by then.
Well, and we have a lot of new people too, especially as we grow. So those new people with fresh perspectives and those people who have been here a long time really are working well together and they learn from each other. So it's been
How
great.
do you make sure that they work well together? Because that is really difficult, because
Mhm.
those people are a whole different generation from someone
Mhm.
coming out of school. Like, I mean, maybe two generations, past. So
Yeah.
how do you
Well, I
make
think we're in the office only 3 days a week, sometimes more. I think that really helps. Having that
away time?
human connection,
Yeah.
and so when we're in the office, it's just we are collaborating and we're standing with work on the walls and we're doing side conversations as we're walking through the halls and making sure that, we're communicating well for projects and so forth. But I think being together and being in the office really does help. That time period of time when everybody was remote, wasn't great. And we were thrilled to get back. We got back earlier than most agencies, 2021.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
What are the core values that you look for in your team?
Well, we do have what we call co-op values, and attention. We have COP, so everybody remembers their values. But courage. We want people to take smart risk. I don't want we don't want status quo.
Mhm.
So we definitely want people to take risk. If they fail, that's okay. They learn from it, get back up and try it again. So courage, definitely. We've been talking about maybe changing the C to curiosity because I think that's really, really critical too.
Yep.
But I think courage is number one. Um, Originality. We want different points of view at the table. We don't want all the same people because we're going to have the best ideas and best solutions when we have that. And then openness. Everybody has open frame of mind to those new ideas and new perspectives
Yeah.
and so forth. And then lastly, but probably most important, is positivity. Not only in positive um, frame of mind, positive approach to the work, um, and how you deal with people, but we also make sure good wins is our purpose for being, and we want to make a positive difference in people's lives with our marketing, and so that's why that's such an important value.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you used one word. I mean, that's what we've always used, because when people spell out their values, I mean, it's no one's going to remember it. They're
Mhm.
not even going to remember it 5 minutes after the CEO tells it on a quarterly or annual basis. You
Yeah.
know, I think curiosity is one of the most important parts. Part of ours is also celebrating wins, sharing failures, being resourceful, and
Mhm.
that's probably one that you guys probably have, especially you coming from a big agency. I remember
Yeah.
when I was hiring, when I was growing the first agency I was hiring, I always used to think, man, if I could just get some team members from these big agencies,
Yeah.
and they would make a huge difference. Like we could just level up to them.
Mhm.
Well, what happened is they had such a support staff. They weren't
Yeah.
resourceful anymore. They weren't curious. They weren't any of those things. So when I got them, they were just like a lead weight on my desk.
Mhm. Yeah,
Just didn't
definitely.
fit.
Well, we recently, when you look at the different levels of our agency, we put a little bit more expectations about what that level means.
Yep.
And in that, we include what percentage are you a leader, a manager, and a maker. And
Okay.
so the leader is you're leading people and teams. Manager is managing the projects, campaigns, the work. And then the maker, you're rolling up your sleeves and doing the work. And everybody, including me and my partner, Chris Preston, we are rolling our sleeves and doing the work as well as
Yep.
leading and managing. But having that clear expectation
Yep.
of what that is.
Yeah. So do people switch paths, or do they stay on that path? Because what I always found, and I've seen this not work, I've also seen it work, where let's say you have the most amazing designer and you're like, oh, you should manage all the designers. But they're like, they hate people. They're
Yeah.
just really good at design,
Mhm.
pretty colors,
Mhm.
right? And I would always like, well, that's a lie. I didn't always. It took me many fumbles and mistakes but I eventually learned that some designers want to become managers. Some
Yep.
managers want to become leaders. Some just want to stay in their lane.
Yeah.
You see the same thing?
Oh, definitely. And it depends on the person, but we definitely give quarterly feedback. We have goals. We work with every individual to figure out what their unique path is. And sometimes somebody would be promoted to a director level with direct reports, and maybe it's just not working out. And they're so talented in other ways. And you just kind of change their path a little bit, and you just focus on their strengths. I think that's key.
Oh, that's cool.
Mhm.
How have you guys been able to adapt over the decades? Because obviously, like when you start 75 years ago,
Mhm.
I mean, was it, I don't even know when TV came out.
Yeah.
Like, did you guys go through that era?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm sure. I do have all the paperwork of the history of the agency and the plans that we have a little infographic about
You guys
that.
put
But
that on social media?
you know what? We haven't. We need to.
Man, that would be fascinating. You know, one of my best friends, he runs I grew up in Panama City, Florida in the Panhandle, and his parents always had like this television station at Beach TV.
Mhm.
And they always like recorded kind of, you know, the spring break and all the traditions. And so now they're posting in social all the things back in the 90s and the 80s.
Mhm.
And it's fascinating. Like, but like if you like start posting some of that, like that'd be
Yeah.
fascinating.
I know we should. Yeah, we definitely should do that. Maybe even this year because it's our 75th year. But then yet, we hear from some search consultants, oh, don't talk about how many years you've been in the
They're
business.
idiots.
And because they're like, you should be bigger by now. And so, you were mentioning earlier about like what our future looks like. We don't have to be bigger to be better.
I'm glad you
You
said
don't
that.
grow for growth's sake.
Yes.
And I want to grow to make sure we're doing the best work possible and giving everybody challenging, fulfilling opportunities with the best
Yep.
brands out there. And being able, and just having that, those opportunities. And it doesn't have to be 100, 200, 300 people in order to have success.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned that because everyone is so focused on growth.
Mhm.
Like, I gotta grow. And and I think everyone too is always looking at everyone else living that Instagram life of going, oh, I'm comparing myself to them. I'm like, no, you're comparing the worst self of your of right now to their made up self.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like it's just not, it's not healthy. Like I was we were chatting with a member not too long ago. She just joined the mastermind and she's like, I'm just so afraid to ask questions because there's so many successful people in here.
Mhm.
And I feel like I shouldn't be here. And we're like, you can't compare yourself to everyone else.
Yeah.
And I was like, you just gotta be vulnerable. That's the only way, like vulnerable, curious, and then you can get there.
Yeah.
Like it's just, but I'm glad you said that. So and I hope you guys do make it 100 years
We
and
will.
and going forward. Like that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And
Well-
tell us how many times the M&A and the big agencies come knocking on your door. Is it daily?
A lot. Yeah. The M&A emails, there's some that are more spam. There's some that are legit.
Yeah.
They're coming every single day.
Yep.
And then more serious, conversation or people knocking on our doors at agencies that I'm aware of and I have relationships with have talked to us and we've said, no, we really want to stay independent. I think that's critical to our success and being healthy and being able to give everybody what they want, the clients and our people. And the people is most important, making sure that our team members are really fulfilled.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you guys sold to someone and private equity, they're gonna be like, you got to make these numbers, and you go back to what you hated at the
Yeah.
big agency.
I know.
They're making decisions based on the investors and the shareholders, and and not what's best for your team and then what's best for your clients. And I totally disagree with those consultants that say don't tell people you're 75. Like I literally like if I had the option to work with an agency that was 75 years versus 2 years, like
Yeah.
like and I'm more family oriented and that kind of stuff, I'd be like, there'd be no question.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Like fire those people.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking about, the other agencies, I just remember like a statement of work. I'm a VP group account director, and I had to get my statement of work that I put together for a client, and it had to get approved like by four people. And it would take like 3 weeks for something that should have been delivered in a day or two.
Yeah.
And and then it postpones getting to the meaningful work that you're doing for your clients. And it's just,
it deflates you. It's kind of like one of the movies I really like is Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, I love that.
And like you remember when like Carol Shelby's in the office and like Henry Ford II is sitting there and he's like, why shouldn't I fire you now? And Shelby was like, well, I was thinking the same question until I watched that one single folder that just made it to your desk go through 8 different hands while I was sitting here for 10 minutes. And who knows how many other hands it actually went through.
Yeah.
Like, screw that. Like, I could never deal with that. That's probably why I've always been fired from every job I've ever had, too. So.
That's why you start agencies instead.
I had no options. Let's be honest. So, well, cool. Well, awesome. This has been a lot of fun, Jennifer. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
One thing that has been on my mind a lot, I am still in the very beginning stages of research and talking to agencies, but I want this to be a future conversation maybe with you and others, we're also a partial ESOP. And as a result of this, and I would do this even if we weren't, but we plan 5-6 years out, every detail of financials, staffing, and so forth. So I have a staffing plan that gets us through 2030.
Wow.
And I look at how we're going to grow. It's very thoughtful, strategic, based on goals. And so as I was doing this, and I'm thinking about AI. So AI has been an incredible tool for us.
Yep.
It's allowed us to be more efficient. So everybody at every level can focus on the work, the meaningful work, and not the administrative stuff.
Yep.
So I think it's made us better. It's not taking over for ideas and creativity or anything like that. But anyway, however, do you need as many junior people doing that administrative work? So I was thinking, maybe we don't need that. But then 5 years out, are we going to have a problem hiring mid-level account people, creative strategists, and so forth? Like, is there going to be a crisis 5 years from now when there isn't the talent out there?
So here's how I look at it. There are certain types of industries and people that could be your client today that will not be your client later on. Like, so I'll give you an example. Someone like me, I run a small business, right? I'm very resourceful. I'm in the tech. I love AI, right? I could totally replace agencies right now. Don't need them. Okay. But am I the 1%? Probably.
Yeah.
Will the landscaping company, will the beer company, that kind of stuff, they love staying in their lane, and what they want is trusted advisors.
Yeah.
And will the mid-level jobs go away? No, because the junior level jobs using AI could be mid-level. The mid-level with AI can be high level.
Yeah.
You'll require less people in the future. And I applaud you for looking out 5 years. Like, one of the things I always tell people, because everyone always goes, what's going to change in 5 years? I always say, what's not going to change in 5 years?
Of course.
And really kind of focus on that. And it's really the connection to people.
Yeah.
How agitated do you get when you call customer support for Amex or whatever shitty company out there like that. And it's like, tell me how I can help you. It's kind of like, you remember Seinfeld?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Kramer's doing, movie phone. He's like, why don't you just tell me what movie? Right? Like,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
I get frustrated. I'm like, agent. And then I start cussing at it. And it's like,
Yeah.
we'll connect you in 5 minutes. Or it hangs up on me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's not going to change. Like
Mhm.
I personally look out 2 years. I just can't look any further than that.
Yeah. And it changes, but it's good to, and we have to look that, we have to do a pro forma for 5 years, but I think it is very helpful and it changes constantly as we get new clients and there's new technologies out there. But I do think colleges
Oh, yeah.
and internships need to teach not only the AI tools, but how to critically think using them, how to solve problems using them, how to put that human aspect into
Yep.
using the AI tools. And so our junior people, they are very much focused there, and we're training them there so that they can be successful moving forward. And it helps us as an agency. But yeah, I've heard from agencies not hiring junior people because they don't feel like they need as many. But then I get it will cause problems. So I just think it starts with the colleges and that curriculum, internships, and just making sure that the agencies are thinking about this and doing
Yeah.
something about it.
And honestly, too, if I was an agency again, I wouldn't care if someone had a degree or not.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. We took that off our job posts.
Yeah, I don't
We
care.
used to say, 4-year bachelor degree. We took it off.
Yeah, I really don't care. I want to see the proven expertise, what you could do. Like, I just dropped my son off at Boulder this year. Very sad time for me.
Yeah, I'm
He's my
sure.
buddy, but, I just said, I really feel like in colleges you learn how to learn. That's all I learned.
Yeah.
I don't remember one single thing a professor taught me,
Mm-hmm.
but that's might be why, I started businesses.
Yeah. And you learn on your own.
Yeah, I had to learn the hard way. So, well, this has been a lot of fun, Jennifer. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, and for everyone listening out. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out all these amazing guests I have lined up. And if you want to stop doing everything on your own and be really kind of surrounded with other agency owners who talk about what they're leveraging in AI and how they're finding people and structuring it and all of that, I'd love for you guys to reach out, and we could talk about joining the community that we have at agencymastery.io. And until next time, have a swank day. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you want more content like this, make sure you click on the link on the screen, or check out your most popular podcast platform where the full episode is there. And until next time, have a swank day. What are you doing? Go check it out. Click on the link. I'll see you soon.